Now, how strict are you with your kids when it comes to social media and their smartphones? Shocking research from charity 5 Right has found out that kids as young as 13 are being served harmful content, such as porn and even pro-suicide messages, within 24 hours of signing up to sites. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, just every day we're hearing something worse, aren't we, about social media? What do you think, Brenda?
Well, look, this goes back to when in my day, and that's that's the only thing that I can take it to and have to relate. When I was growing up, I never had a phone when I was at school, at high school. I got a phone when I was at college because I could afford it. So, and then when I got a phone, it was one of these Nokia 8510s. It was just a phone. It didn't have a screen to have online for this or online for that. And it was for use in emergencies, which is what I think a phone, if you're giving your child a phone, that's what it should be for. When Jamal and Tanisha were growing up, when they were 12 and 13, they didn't have a phone. And when I finally got them a phone, I think they were 16, 17 years old. But for me, they got a phone that you can just push a button with. But I'm thinking, I'm the person that's paying for this phone bill. You know, children cannot get a contract for themselves until, 18, 16? So until such point, it's the parents' responsibility, and it's...
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
It's the parents' responsibility, I think, and, you know, you have more control to say, well, I think this is the phone if you want a phone, and this is the phone and that's what they have to put up with, and that's it.
So I think that's a fantastic theory, and I agree with every single word of it. But in the modern day, the implementation of that parenting to my mind, does not work, because you didn't have a phone at school, neither did I, neither did... But then neither did
my children.
But then neither did anybody else in the school. Nobody had a phone, so we were all on a level playing field, and as kids... As long as everybody else is doing what you're doing, you feel OK and you don't get ostracised or bullied. You know, your kids themselves are older. My 28-year-old is not fixated on social media because even when she got a phone, it was a brick initially. But now you're talking a whole different ballgame. So even if we were the strictest parents in the world and we went, you're going to secondary school, you will not have a phone, your child will suffer at school because of that.
It's
because
not
they
about
will
not having a phone. It's about you don't. Why do you need a phone that's got a screen and got YouTube and got this? You're supposed to be learning at school.
I get it, and you don't need it. But when you are a kid at secondary school and you want to fit in with everybody else, and they've got one, it is the hardest thing in the world to say to your child, "You're not going to have that." I think what you have to do is say, "Look, I am handing this to you, and you're going to see an awful lot of bad stuff on this. You've got to have an open dialogue with your kids and just teach them how to handle what you're placing into their house."
That's cool, and you're saying about fitting in, but then you've got the tech giants who themselves have admitted they will not let their children get onto social media, and they're the ones that have created this. So what they're doing is actually using the rest of us as guinea pigs.
Their kids are quite young. When their kids get to 13 or 14, if they still have that policy with their children, believe you me, their children will either have a secret phone or they'll go on somebody else's phone.
I couldn't agree more. So I was able to keep Maddie without a phone till she went to secondary school, and I'm glad of that. But when she got to secondary school, it was almost like she was illiterate because she knew nothing about the apps. The way that kids contact each other is through the apps, so you need the internet and all that. And if you're not in a photo, you weren't there. If you're not on the apps, then you don't know about the parties, you don't know about the meetups, you don't know about that. So you are literally removing your child from the social side. Now, it's not just about school, it's not about... I mean, I happen to think at school you should hand your phone in and then be able to get it on your way out.
Which is what they did for a long time.
But that's not going to protect your child from what is going on a phone. But like you say, Jane, I really, really, really believe this is the most important thing you can do if you want to protect your child, is to have a conversation with them, not make them frightened. And my girls tell me this all the time. This is what happens within their friendship groups. The parents go, right, I'll be taking that phone off. If I see anything like that, that phone will be going. Should they have burner phones? They'll borrow their other phones. And what they never do is they never share with their parents when they're in trouble with their phone. And that scares me more than anything.
Yeah.
Because there's all sorts of things that can go on via that phone. And I always say to my girls, I'll never be cross. What I'll do is I'll sit down with you and say, how can we work this problem out?
But it is really addictive. I was addicted to
Highly
social media.
Oh, God,
you remember,
were the worst.
I couldn't be anywhere without my phone. I'd wake up in the night and be looking at social media and whatever. I mean, it nearly ended my marriage because we'd be sitting watching a film and I'd be on my phone. He'd go, "You're going to watch the film with me or not?" And then he'd go out, you know, like he'd get the... But with Lila and Betsy, I mean, Lila's 9, Betsy's 4. I think by the time they go to secondary school, they'll need a phone. Just because, say, she lost her bus fare, say someone had, like, picked on her or something, but not necessarily an iPhone or whatever, just a normal phone so she can text or ring to say, like, can you come pick me up, something's happened, or I can't get home, or whatever. I think from secondary school they should, but without all the social media stuff on it or whatever.
Again, I mean...
But, you know, when we all get together, we have a conversation. Our phones will probably be around somewhere. At some point, we'll go, just checking all the kids are still alive, yeah, fine. And we carry on with our conversation. Everywhere I go now in restaurants, I see young couples.
Exactly.
And the minute there's a lull in the conversation, this is what they do. They go straight away onto... It's like a sort of a comfort blanket or a...
Yeah.
And for me, that's breaking, you know, that's stopping communication
Absolutely,
the way that
you're right.
used to
It
be,
is.
and the way that it should be. So the same way that it's been introduced, again, if there's a mass of people saying, OK, we're going to get behind this and we'll give you a normal phone, it's a phone.
I just want to... Have you ever heard of the word datification?
No.
Jane, bet you know what datification is.
Only because you mentioned it to me earlier.
Oh, yeah. So basically, datification is how companies make money out of your data. And
or
that's
data mining, they used to call
data
that.
mining. That's what these tech giants are doing, how they make money out of our children. It's with their data. So they'll look for something and then they will be able to keep feeding them similar content over and over again.
It's the algorithms feeding...
So say your child sees by accident a self-harming film and they click on it and then they'll pick up on that and they'll keep passing them those films. Watch a film called Social Dilemma if you really want to understand all of this. It's fantastic.
And the thing is... Yeah, we all worry, don't we, that our kids are going to go online and spend money on something that they... But actually, even when they're not spending money, so they think they're just looking at content for free, but then they are the actual product. Exactly. They are the product for that internet company because that internet company then sells the data of your child onto somebody else who then targets them.
And you wouldn't have this problem if you had a Nokia 8510.
But unfortunately, the genie is out of the bottle, the kittens are out of the box.
The genie's out of the bottle, but you know if you say, Genie, get back in,
we can't just go
back into the bottle.
No, but we can't just close our eyes and stick our fingers in our ear. We have to be...
Because they get into our brains.
I'm going to be in trouble. They're telling me off.